In today's video, we're going to talk about torque tube safety. We got a torque tube here, a torque tube strap. We're going to talk about the torque tube hoop and what's the safest and why you should or shouldn't use a torque tube strap versus the hoop.
Hi, I'm Billy Dietrich, sprint car mechanic and driver. I've been around racing my whole life and it's pretty much all I know. We created this channel to share the good and the bad and everything in between. Our crew might not be the most experienced or professional, but we get it done and we have a good time doing it. We'll show you what it's really like racing weekly at some of the best tracks in central Pennsylvania. I'm also going to share some sprint car tutorials, mechanics, and parts, and whatever else I feel like. So like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. And enjoy the ride. Yeah, boy.
Well, the first thing I want to do is actually explain what the torque tube is for everybody out there that may not know. The torque tube is made of aluminum. It actually is what connects the rear end to the motor plate, and the word torque is exactly what it does. The torque from the engine, it runs back through the drive line here, and there's a drive shaft in here, and it wants to spin the rear end over backwards, so the actual torque tube takes all that force from the motor and actually puts a lot of pressure on this tube, and it wants to pick this up in the front. So the torque tube, it connects the rear end to the firewall and the drive shaft's inside. Like I said, it's made out of aluminum, and that's what we're going to be talking about here shortly. Well, the first thing I want to talk about is the actual torque tube hoop, which pretty much comes standard as far as I'm aware of. In I think all the chassis, they come with an actual hoop, which is this piece right here. And in some cases, it's welded directly to this bar. In this case, it's a removable, just like your bumper or your Nerf bar. You can take it in and out. We're in the process of putting the car together, so this torque tube hoop obviously doesn't match the car, and I'll explain to you why here in a second. But first, let's just show what this actual hoop does. The torque tube will actually come up through here, and this is a safety feature. So in the case that you would get in an accident or crash, and the torque tube itself will either come loose from the rear end or something happened on the front end, and this starts to move around like so. It can go front and rear, and a lot of times it's side to side. So this torque tube hoop will help contain that motion. Of course, your feet are on both sides of the torque tube here, but something happens, you get in a crash, you hit somebody, and it slams to the side, and all of a sudden you're banging this thing off the side. So the safety aspect of it is just that it can kind of contain the torque tube itself, which is not a bad thing at all. There was a period in time where there wasn't any torque tube hoops many years ago. So that's the actual torque tube hoop and what it does. And like I said, most people are probably already familiar with that, but I'm going to explain to you next about the torque tube strap and why we use that. All right, so I got the torque tube strap here. This is made by Simpson. We carry them upstairs and nowhere else. We got them in stock, and it's a 2-inch strap. And I'm going to explain how this works. So when you get these, they come all, let me just undo this quick. Not that it's a big deal, but when you get one that looks just like this, some people are confused as to how it goes. It's really not that complicated. Just gonna run this loop through here, which makes a loop, and it's gonna fasten to the other side of the car. Now we'll show you that in a minute, but first of all, I want to demonstrate how this works on the actual torque tube, so everybody has an understanding. So obviously we've got our torque tube here, got our strap. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you the reason why we, as in me and Danny, prefer this strap versus the torque tube hoop. So as I already demonstrated with the hoop, the torque tube can move front to rear, and it has a lot of room to move side to side. Now with this strap, you're going to cinch it down like so. So it's going to be tight on the torque tube. to the point where, like, you know, it doesn't want to move front to rear. And also this strap is going to hold it from moving left to right. Now you are going to have the motion up and down with the car. You know, it's not going to be the point where you can't, obviously it's going to float with the rear end as you're racing up and down. But in the, you know, the case where you get in a crash and the thing comes loose, the strap is tight to the tube. So it's going to really restrict any movement of this tube. So, you know, like I showed earlier with that torque tube hoop, there's a lot of movement left to right, and this thing gets to whipping around in there. You think about if your car is flipping, the rear end's, everything's just moving all around. Well, this is going to eliminate a lot of that. And really, in my opinion, it's probably more safer than that torque tube hoop. Now, in saying that, there's nothing wrong with running both. There are some guys I know that will leave the hoop in and still run this strap. Nothing wrong with that at all. But that's how this strap works, how it functions. Cinch it down tight on the torque tube. And really, if the tube's, you know, if it starts to move front to back, you know, as we're going to show you in a minute here, well, the way this is anchored to the frame, it's actually going to pull this tighter. So it's going to make this even tighter when the torque tube tries to move front to rear. So that's the rundown on the torque tube strap and why we use them and why we think they're safer and why I would recommend everybody out there get one and use one, put it in your car, try and save your ankles and your feet. All right, we got our torque tube strap set up here on our spare car. As you can see here, we got the positioning of the strap is just in front of this bar on both sides, and the left side is the non-tension adjusting side, and then on the right side here is the side that adjusts the tension on the strap on the tube. And I just run black tape around here when I get it where I want it, the way that the strap doesn't slide front to back. And same way with the excess, I loop it back through here, just like your seat belts. And then, like I said, on this side here is the adjustment side as far as the tension. You can see when it pulls on, it's got a little more tension on there. It's not super tight, but it's tight enough for when the thing moves up and down. Same deal on this side, wrapped it around here, ran the excess back through there, taped it up. You can see right here on this spot where the strap was probably touching the bottom side of, you can actually see on the sub belt here, you know, it kind of slid back here, which is nothing really to worry about. It's nothing uncommon, but there's how we mount our strap. There's what it all looks like when it's finished and ready to go. There's the tension on there. It can't move a whole lot, as you can see that right there. That's it. You know, if it moves that much, it's going to get tighter. It's going to pull on this and get tighter. So there's our finished product with the strap in the car, ready to go racing. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something as well. Over the years, you know, you learn different things, kind of like, you know, that's just the way it is. It's the way it has been here for us, me and my brother Danny, and our dad as well. Hopefully you take this video and take this advice and get yourself a strap. They're not expensive. I think we sell this strap for like $32 roughly. It doesn't weigh much. You're not really adding any weight to the car, but you're adding a lot of safety. And ultimately, that's what this is about, trying to be safe. You want to, you know, try and avoid any avenue of getting injured, because we all know racing is not safe. It's a dangerous sport. So the torque tube has gotten a lot of guys over the years, and like I said, this strap could probably save you a lot of pain if you put it on the car. So appreciate you watching. By all means, if you got any questions, comment below. Give us a call here at RUPW. Check us out. Talk to me or Danny. We both have experience with this. Like I said, we got them in stock. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.